Welcome once again here on Regional Radio Sports. My name is Paul County. I'm the president and founder of the Regional Radio Sports Network. We welcome you to the Tony Natali Show. Great to be here at Bethel University with our program here today. Coach, first of all, let's just talk about what an exciting fall and off to a great start here in the winter. I can't remember off the top of my head that so much success. Women's volleyball making the national tournament, the men's soccer team making the national tournament. The women's golf team wins the NCCAA title. And, of course, Jason Freeman's women's soccer team wins the NCCAA title. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. You have to be very, very proud of your athletes and coaches.
Yeah, it's been a special fall, no question about it. It's been really good. You know, this last week has been really a phenomenal week for us. Women's soccer, you mentioned with Coach Freeman and all his ladies, they won an NCCAA national championship. And I had the privilege to be down in Orlando for the first half of that week. And the winning the championship is special, no question about it. But the way that those ladies did everything. I mean, the culture on that team, just how their Christ-centeredness, everything is just phenomenal. And it's really exciting to see that, especially when you consider where they've come from. You know, 3 years ago they won one match. 4 years ago they couldn't field the team. So, you know, the fact that we've come that far in this short amount of time has been really special for them. And so I'm really happy for them. They could win that championship, our second championship of the fall. Men's soccer, Tiago's set the bar extremely high after winning last year the NAI National Championship, but made it to the Final 8 this year, had a phenomenal run, just did a great job in so many ways. Again, culture's great, and Tiago does a great job with every aspect of his team. So it's been a great fall, and here we are in our winter sports, men's basketball 7-2, and playing well, beat Huntington the other night in a tough conference game, and women's basketball keeps improving, getting better. Swimming is off to a great start. They're breaking records right and left and having NAI qualifiers, so that was good. Bowling is off to a great start. Bailey Navarro, our women's bowler, won the Crossroads League tournament this last weekend here at home, so that was special for us. And then track is competed at Notre Dame this last Friday and had 7 NAI qualifiers and a whole bunch of NCCA national qualifiers. So that's a lot, but we've got a lot going on. It's been really good. Look forward to our spring sports coming up here in a little bit, but it's been a great fall, no question.
I know that you always kind of get this itch at this time of year wanting to get back into coaching. I know you do, especially when you see the success that your athletes and your coaches are having. Kind of give us an idea where you're at in regards to just being there as an encourager and that type of, I mean, it's a spiritual gift that you have to begin with. Let's go right there. And so let's talk about how you don't necessarily want to talk X's and O's. You're not talking with Coach Draymond about running this defense or running this offense or how do you prepare this, but it's about using your spiritual gifts that God gave you.
Actually, I'm talking to Coach Draven about some of those things, actually. So that's actually, he does a pretty good job. He calls me pretty much after every game, and we talk about things. And I don't give him input unless he asks, but if he asks, I definitely give him input. So, yeah, it's been good. But, no, it's been great just to be around this staff. I mean, I am so blessed to have the opportunity to work with the staff I work with. They are so great to work with every day. And, we have our fair share of challenges, but things are so good right now. And I feel good about the culture in our department. I feel good about the direction that we're heading in so many ways and the improvements we're trying to make. And, of course, you never get everything done you want to, but I feel really encouraged and blessed by what I get to do every day. So no complaints on this end for sure.
We're blessed today because we have one of the greatest Bethel athletes in the history of Bethel athletes. We're thrilled, again, to have Natali Newell, who's a member of the Bethel University Hall of Fame. She 2015 graduate of Bethel. I can go over the records, but we don't have that much time because we would have to go through 2 more hours of that just to talk about. She's the Ron Paulson Award winner, Crossroads League 3-time performer, 2-time All-American, and she's your coach. And I'll tell you what, I'll never forget when Brittany Lightfoot told me about her when Britt was coaching here, and of course Britt had a great career here, and we had a chance to watch her play, and she told me this is someone really, really special. You got to keep an eye on her, and she has exceeded her expectations as well as our expectations as athletes and as coaches. You could not have picked a finer person to run your softball program. So now that I give her that $25 introduction, What's your thoughts on having someone with such a treasured impact and past?
Well, to see what she's been able to do with the softball program already has been pretty phenomenal, and we talk a lot, and like I keep encouraging her, until you have that cycle that comes through, that complete cycle of recruiting, you're kind of a work in progress. Well, she's getting close to that cycle, and once you have that cycle in, I'm a firm believer that things just take off. But I've made mistakes along the way, but I tell you what, this has not been one of them. Hiring her has been a great move on my part, and couldn't be more thrilled with the status of our softball program and where it's leading.
All right, Miss Natali Newell, I tell you what, I know that you don't want to talk about the past, but if you don't talk about the past, there's it's poised to repeat itself. But I'd like for you to talk about the past, because your past is going to be the future of Bethel softball. So let's talk about some of the things that you can glean on that you experienced here during your time here as a student athlete, and of course as an assistant coach, and then give us an idea. So as you look at the way this thing has transformed since you walked out these doors in 2015, what do you want your future teams to be a part of, some of the things that you had a chance to experience?
Sure, that's a great question. I think first and foremost, just the culture. When I walked off of this campus in 2015, I was with some of my very best friends, and we've gotten to celebrate, life's biggest milestones together, which is awesome. So I want my girls to have that experience, to look back on their 4 years or however many years they spend here at Bethel in a positive light, not something that's a negative little blip in their past, but a very positive thing, and just find their very best friends and get to play the sport we love. I mean, how awesome is that? We're super blessed. So if I can give them anything, it would just be that feeling of, man, I can treasure these 4 years in this very special place and walk out a better person than what I came in.
What was it like for you when you had to get up in front of everybody and accept being involved in the Bethel University Athletic Hall of Fame? I kind of came in it from the backside. I never played it down, never done anything here athletically other than just do a whole bunch of games for 25 years. I guess that's something, but it's certainly not like you. And my name isn't written all over the Bethel record book, or will it ever be? But I mean, so talk about what that was like for you. Share that experience now that you've had a chance to let it settle.
Sure. Awesome. I mean, it was a really special day, but truthfully, I wouldn't be anywhere close to any of those records or in the Hall of Fame if it weren't for a ton of people that just supported me, pushed me, my teammates, all those people. And once again, that goes back to just the specialness of Bethel, I guess, because I wouldn't have been able to accomplish any of those things and experience that awesome day if it hadn't been for a whole lot of people that were right there along the paths, walking it with me and celebrating victories and pulling me up by my bootstraps on those downward days. But it was an awesome experience. I'm blessed. I hope I can represent the Hall of Fame well and represent Bethel well as the coach here, and continue to progress the softball program forward.
Coach Natali, you got a thought for that?
No, I'm one of the people on the Hall of Fame committee and kind of run that. And when we met to talk about that class, I mean, there was no question that Natali deserved to be in, and all of her accomplishments, just what she's been able to do. The Hall of Fame has been very interesting because through the years, the qualifications to get in have been harder and harder and harder. And we've gone to the point where if you're not an NAIA All-American at some point in your career, you have a rough time getting in, and that's a tough accomplishment when you think about that. But Natali was at the top of the list. So no question at all. It was a unanimous vote. She's in.
Nat, when you look at the landscape of college athletics today, I'm not just talking about your sport, but of college athletics as a big picture stuff. Do you think college athletics is at a good place?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. I mean, I think we have better athletes than what we've ever had before. Just the level of athleticism is just incredibly high. I see that in softball all the time. These kids are working with, individual trainers and private lessons. So I think there's good and there's bad in college athletics. But I certainly think we're dealing with a very high level of athleticism, and, the level of play just increases every single year. It's tougher and tougher. I mean, the fact that we're bringing in national championships year after year at Bethel is really impressive and special, just looking at the overall depth of the Crossroads League, and just the NAI level of athleticism and abilities is just really, really high. So I think it's just a testament to what Bethel is doing.
You've seen, we talked earlier at the top here about Jason Freeman's women's soccer team. I mean, as Tony alluded to, the program was really kind of hit rock bottom. And Jason's come in, he's changed the cultures, changed the expectations. The dynamics have changed. The type of athletes that he's brought in are different as well, too. So I'm guessing you probably feel a little bit of pressure. I know you. You're a competitive person. You're probably thinking, hey, listen, everybody else is doing well. I need to keep up our end of the bargain. So let's just talk how you're handling those expectations, because you've wanted everything you've ever done your entire life. So finishing second place isn't even good enough for you.
Sure. No, you're just a loser at second place. No, it's, there is always that pressure. I obviously have high expectations for myself and what I want my program to look like, and high expectations for my players. We've talked a lot about how it's a process. So certainly that's not always an easy thing for an impatient person like myself who wants to do well now.
Everybody at the table wrote the book on impatience.
Yes. So, we're trusting the process. It's something I have to remind myself each and every day of, we're gonna have our struggles, we're gonna have our victories, but I'm gonna trust the process and know that the timing will be right when it's our turn to see the fruition of all of our hard work.
One thing that's been really apparent to me, and I'm not a big social media people, and I don't follow a lot of people on social media, but I do follow you guys on your social on Instagram, and there's so many things that you guys do away from softball, but they're team-oriented things. Mm-hmm. I mean, share with our listening audience just some of the non-softball related but team-building things that you do. You don't have to take a trip halfway across the country to have a team bonding experience. Every week it seems like you guys are having a team bonding opportunity. And Coach Natali, I know you will as anybody. If your team is tight together, and there's one heartbeat, a lot of things can happen in a real special way.
Yeah, I mean, I know Coach hasn't been pleased with the amount of wins yet that they've had, but I tell you what, the culture she's talked about from the beginning, it has changed. It's changed dramatically, and that's where it starts. If you don't have the culture, you're not going to get the rest, and that's what Jason's been able to do, and that's what Natalie's doing right now. So she has made a huge change in that culture. So I'll let you answer that question, though.
Yeah, no, that's something that my assistant coaches and I sat down at the end of last year and the year before, really, too, of, okay, what do we need to do to really impact the culture? And team building was a huge thing, and it's not like we have the biggest budget where we can run these kids all over and do these really, really amazing things. So we have to be a little bit creative. But we think that building trust is the biggest thing that's gonna change our culture. And I think doing little things together and getting the girls together to learn about each other is huge. So, we do our fall team retreat. We do once a week team building built into practice, where we just set aside time and we, build paper airplanes or, do something with a balloon, something creative, something fun. We have Halloween parties, Christmas parties, just different things that are going to get the girls together outside of softball and get them to learn about each other, rely on each other, trust each other. So hopefully that they can step on the field and go to battle and know that they have each other's backs.
Well, I know Gardner Field's it's taken a whole upgrade in the last decade, and you didn't get a chance to experience some of that when you were here. The field was okay. I'll use that, just kind of be nice, but it's really it's taken on a whole new level. The facade in itself is beautiful, and so just speak to that. You played in an era where the field wasn't that important. I mean, just one of there, you were hanging with Britt, and you guys were doing your thing, and but kids today, those kind of bells and whistles are important to kids these days. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think I would argue we have the best facility in the Crossroads League. I know that's probably a bold statement, but I love our field. I think it's beautiful. One, two, like we have everything we could possibly need out there. So I think, and we have a video board, which is really cool, so the girls can see their faces on the board when they go up to bat and just different things. Certainly a perk in the recruiting process when kids are looking for those bells and whistles, like you said. But it's a huge upgrade from what I played on. We take great pride in our field. We try to take care of it every single day. But yeah, just an amazing facility. We're super blessed.
Can you speak to your roster? I know that that's always in flux at this stage of the year, and you're not sure how things are going to go. But I know you guys do play a little bit in the fall, and as you get closer to this winter coming through, and then the spring, can you speak to what you were excited about in the fall and how that will parlay into the spring?
Sure. First and foremost, just depth. We've got way more depth at a lot of really crucial positions this year. A lot more athleticism, I would say, than what we've had in the last couple of years. Our freshman group is pretty large. I think there's 7 or 8 of them. But they've come in and just challenged our upperclassmen in a very, very positive way. Our upperclassmen have done a great job of leading our girls this year, the newbies. So, I mean, our roster, we'll definitely, have struggles, I'm sure, at some point, being very young, having to teach and grow and learn those kids. But I'm really excited to see what these new kids can come in and do, what our returners can do. It's a pretty fresh-faced team, so I anticipate our roster looking very different than last year when it comes to starting lineup, but I'm very, very excited about it.
Do you think there's going to be, at some point in time, there's going to be a Jenny Finch or a Natali Newell or a Brittany Lightfoot that will be into that prominent role as a pitcher, where that everybody sees that person and automatically says, well, that's a loss? Do you anticipate someone on the horizon for you to be in that role?
I mean, I certainly hope so. We'll see. I definitely take more of a staff approach when it comes to pitching, and just I want them to do it as a team and as a group. The game has changed so much. We play a lot of games in a very short amount of time, so we'll see. That's always certainly a very good thing when you have somebody who can stick out there for 7 innings and they can just get the job done. But I have a lot of confidence in our staff as a whole group of working together, utilizing their strengths, and pulling out some victories for us this year.
Give us a flyover, if you can, to the Crossroads League. Obviously, Marion's been very, very good, but we can go up and down the line of some of the other teams that are content. Do you feel you guys, where you're at in this building process, I guess, are you in that position where you think you guys are going to be able to get in the mix of this thing?
I mean, I really do believe so. I think, with just like we've talked about the change in the culture, the girls know that they're capable. I think that's a really, really big thing. So I certainly think we're in the mix. The league is tough, man. It is strong top to bottom. We've had some new coaches that have come in, and the bottom teams aren't bottom teams anymore. So somebody has to end up on the bottom. But 1 through 10? 1 through 10 of us is we're strong. We're getting better every single year. It's going to be a grind, but you want to be the best, you got to play the best. So there's no other league in the states that I'd rather be in.
Well, let's talk more about your coaching staff, because I know that Coach Natali was a tremendous assistant coach for Coach Mike Lightfoot. He was a generational coach, and he also was a head coach of the track team, and he certainly knows the dynamics of being a great head coach as well. Now he's the head coach of the athletic department. So I'm a firm believer, as a head coach, you're only going to be as good as the great assistants. I have great assistant coaches with me each and every day. I'm blessed to have them around me. They're great. The neat thing for me is they're so much younger than I am, and they help me through some of the social media and all the technical aspects of things. So let's talk about your coaching staff.
Yeah, so my assistant, Shannon Dance, played for me, so knows me really well, knows my expectations, how I kind of work. I think we make a really, really good team. She can be the soft to my heart at times, and kind of my steady voice when I know that I'm kind of getting amped up a little bit. So I think we work really well together. We bounce ideas off each other all the time. She's my sounding board, my first one I run to when I'm like, should we do this? Should we not do this? But she's great. This is her second year as a coach, and a second year with the program. So she's learning, she's growing. We're working well together. I could not be more excited to have her by my side.
Tony, you've been in the role for many, many years as the number one assistant and as the head coach. Can you speak to some of the dynamics as you look back on your career, and now as the head coach of athletics? There's some things that you can say to Natali. This is some things that she could work with, and you understand it as well as anybody does.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in what everybody said. You're only as good as your staff that you have, and you have to be able to all be on the same page. And I think I look back at my experiences with Coach Lightfoot. I think the special things were not being a yes person, I don't think that's ever what he wanted. He wanted to be challenged. He wanted to have different ideas. So I did that, and I constantly fed him those different ideas. And sometimes we argued about those things. And I did realize that he's the head coach. Though the bottom line is it's his decision. And I did the same thing when I was the head track coach with my assistants. I welcomed input. I welcomed being challenged. But like I'd always told them, at the end of the day, I got to make those decisions. So I understand exactly what Coach is saying. She does have a great assistant coach, and they work very well together. She's the head of the program, though, so it puts her in a position to take that information and all that sounding board and stuff that she's getting and kind of weed through it and figure out what really works and what doesn't. But you got to be able to give information. I don't think anybody wants people around them as a staff that's just going to be like, oh yeah. You don't want to do that. So I think you got to have people that want to challenge you.
When you look at all the success that we've had this school year, it's been really amazing for you guys to be in the hunt with some of the other schools with much larger athletic budgets. You find yourself in a situation that you guys are in a contention now to be in the top 5 in the Crossroads League All Sports Trophies, that type of situation. Mm-hmm. Was it your vision when you look back on taking this job to put yourself in the position with shouting distance of near the top or right at the top?
Yeah, I really believe that your culture and what you do to day and just the process, like Natali mentioned, I'm a process person. So that was a hope and that was a dream, but it wasn't like something I focused in on. I focused more in the day-to-day stuff. We want to change the culture of this department. We want all of our teams to get better. This isn't about tiers. We don't want to have tiers here like a lot of schools do, where you have top-tier programs and then middle-tier programs and then, oh yeah, here's some other programs that exist, but we really don't care about them. We want everybody to be successful. And, basically my whole reason for doing this job is for our student athletes and giving them the best possible experience they can get. And that starts with hiring great coaches, because I know that our softball kids right now, I know they're getting the best possible experience they can. I don't have to go to every practice. I know that with what Natali and what her staff is doing, they're getting the best possible experience they can. And to me, that's the most important thing. They're getting that spiritual development. They're getting that great culture that they need to be in. The all sports trophy will just take care of itself. We'll get the wins. We'll do what we need to do on that end. We have to be sold out to the process.
Tony, when you sat down with Nat and you went over the interview, I want you to take me back. Did you sit back and say, listen, she broke Brittany Lightfoot's record for her career strikeouts, finished her career with a 1.52 ERA, 60-22 record, 865 strikeouts. Did any of that kind of stuff come up, or did it come up the fact that she's a great leader?
Well, that stuff's great, but that's not the reason. The reason is because of the person that she is. And I really believe very strongly in prayer and in being led. You're being led to certain people. And when that opened up, there was no question in my mind Natali was who I wanted. And we had conversations throughout the whole process of that. And, it was not because of what she had accomplished. It's because of the person she is. And I knew with her leading that program would be in great, great shape. So it's everything to do with the person that she is.
Well, Nat, I think you got an endorsement to stick around for a couple more years based upon that, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I plan to be here for a long time.
Well, that's what people want to know. And finally, let's discuss the student athlete's experience. If there's a potential parent that's listening and watching today's program, and they want to know what's it like to come to play here for you, what do you want mom and dad as well as that student athlete to know about you? We can talk about this resume. Like I said, we can go over that. That's another 2 hours we can add on. But what do you want them to know about you?
Man, I think just about me, what you see is what you get. You're going to get a very passionate person who loves softball but loves Jesus and loves this university and wants to see this university thrive, but our softball program thrive and our athletic department thrive. I've always said I bleed Bethel blue from the time I stepped on campus until I came back. There was no doubt about that. So we're going to work hard, but we're going to have fun. And I'm going to challenge these kids. I'm going to kind of help them to work hard and really reach their true potential. We're going to have fun along the way. It's a game, so we want to make sure that we remember that. It's not, this isn't life and death. But man, I think we have the capability to be really successful at this university within this softball program, and it's just I love this university. I feel very passionate about it. I want us to do well. I want to impact kids. I want to grow them.
Coach Natali, I don't think you ask a better ringing endorsement. I know if my kids were eligible, I would send them her way.
Exactly, and that's what I mean. There's never a doubt of what happens in that program, and that's really what my expectations are with all of our coaches, all of our programs are. I don't want to have to worry about what's going on. And I know with coaches like Natali, I don't need to worry about that. They do a great job.
Nat, great to hang out with you. I hope you have a blessed Christmas, okay?
Yeah, thank you. You too. Thanks for having me.
All right, once again, that's going to do it for the Tony Natali Show. I think I can speak for you. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry Christmas to everybody.
So on behalf of the entire Bethel University athletic family, and especially for Natali and Tony, I'm Paul Condry. Thanks for joining us here on Regional Radio Sports.